So I was able to stop talking. What I was just saying about the PA block is, if you shake it, you can hear it clicking. That's the C-check valve. It's a non-serviceable part that's inside this block. It's in one of these ports where they drill and press the steel balls in, so you can never get to it again. But that would be one reason to replace the PA block if the C-check valve is faulty. Now to back up a minute, when we were talking about removing that PA block, we had another unit in here last week, and the base itself was bad. So we needed to replace the base. To replace the base, we needed to remove the PA block. However, we could not get the bolts out. So we cut the bolts, all four corners. The reason we couldn't get the bolts out is all four of the heads stripped. And you can see that white corrosion on the heads of these bolts that were holding them fast, and there was no getting them out. But as you can see, the threads are perfect. It was just the heads. And I don't think you can see it. We'll see, maybe you can. Inside this base, down here at the bottom, there's some chunks missing out of the aluminum. Maybe it was a casting flaw, possibly it was assembled wrong. I think it's a casting flaw, to be honest with you. And the complaint here was that the pump would not, the lift ram would not stay up, or it would not raise. You'd have to press it several times to try to get it to come up. We replaced the base, and everything's fine. So, but I just wanted to show you that this is what you resort to, because again, this base we sell for right now $127, and the PA block that bolts on here is obsolete. So that you sacrifice the base when you have to. I still need to show this customer the bolts when he picks up his unit. I put those to the side. I got a little bit ahead of myself on putting the sump base back in the vise. We're going to do some more assembly and get ready for assembly. What we're going to do now is assemble our lift ram so that it's ready. The lift ram with the cylinder. So we put the bolt back in the vise. Incidentally, we have another vise, and we leave the bolt in it, and we just walk over to the other vise to perform this part. This way we can leave our base in here to make things easier, so I don't have to run back and forth with the camera and the tripod. I'm doing everything in the one vise. Plus, you at home probably don't have two vices. So we're going to put our lift ram back on the bolt. We're going to get our seal kit. This is the one we sell in our store. We install them every day here in our shop as well. Got all the seals you need, and even some extras. Because these seal kits also work with some of the older units as well, so they'll be what we sometimes refer to as bonus parts when you're done. Here's our packing cup. Unlike the old one, you can see this is tapered because it hasn't been crushed to fit the shape of the cylinder yet. So I'm just going to set that on there because I want to dig through this bag and find the O-ring that goes on this threaded portion. I've been doing this long enough, I can find it pretty easily. One of the things we want to come up with is an actual size chart that you can lay the O-rings on so you know which ones you need and which ones go where. We found the best way to put these on is to roll them, because it's difficult to get it past the threads. So although normally you don't like to roll an O-ring, we found that's the easiest way to get this into position. And there it is. Put a couple of drops of hydraulic oil on there just to help it seat. Next we assemble our piston onto the shaft, and just like removing it, we had to unscrew it. We're probably going to have to screw it on just to get it past that distorted portion of thread. There we go. And again, that tapered part of the hole goes up against that O-ring. We just turn it and press it up against it. We're dispersing the oil, spreading it all around there so that the whole thing is lubricated. Next, our packing cup would go on. There's a raised portion here on the piston that this will fit right over, like so. Our piston follower is next. And probably have to thread this on as well, being that we had to thread it off. You shouldn't have to, it should just slip right on, but like I say, these threads are distorted, so this is how we have to do it. Or we can cheat a little bit and file down the threads like we've done before, but this works just the same. There's no problem with having that way. Just blow off some of the brass shavings I just created. Alright. New nylock nut, which is not in the box where it belongs. Check one of these other boxes here. No? Alright. So I'm taking a walk over to the bins. May as well grab a few. Have them here on hand, ready to go. There it is, started. 3/4 inch wrench. Thread that on there. I don't go totally crazy, but I do want to get this as tight as I can. Which is pretty tight. We've had it once before where somebody brought us a unit that wouldn't stay up. When we disassembled the unit, the only thing we could find is that this nut was a little bit loose, and we assumed that the oil was leaking past along the hole through the center, past the O-ring that we put on the shaft here. So, all right. We have our cylinder all cleaned up. Put a wet rag through it, off camera, and this is the lift ram's ready to be installed into the lift cylinder. We do that a little bit differently too. Meyer shows you slipping it over the top and then using a rawhide mallet and striking around the edges to drive this onto the packing. We don't do that. We do is we have our trusty block of wood here, down a clean paper towel. We get our oil. And on the bottom of the cylinder, this is what the top looks like. Here's the bottom. Just lubricate that a little bit. A little bit of oil on there. All right, roll it around so that it's lubricated all around the edge. We take our ram, set it down on the wood. We slip our cylinder over it. We hold it so that it's centered. We're going to do one swift motion. We're going to knock this thing right on against the block of wood. Ready? 1, 2. There you go. It's in. Okay, just like that, done. We're going to wobble a little bit because it's not totally in. That's fine, just don't try to stand it up. Set this to the side once again, because we need to jump back to our grooves down washer. We're just going to clean this up real quick with the abrasive pad on the right angle grinder. Get that ready to go. Put that on top of the cylinder, and the cylinder will be ready to be inserted in the vase. And then jumping ahead, we're going to move the camera to the arbor press. We're not going crazy on this either, we're very light. Just enough to shine it up and get the rust off. Turn it over, we'll get the back side too. Rust is a little heavier on this side. Okay. And something else we do is we grab a scuff pad again, and we clean the inside surface of the washer. There you can see there's some rust on there too. So by hand we clean that. Because the 1/4-inch angle grinder is a rotary tool, as ridiculous as it sounds, and I'm just a little anal, it could leave scores, minute scores on this surface. I like to then take it and put it down on a scuff pad and just vary the pattern, put a different finish on here, just light polishing just to finish it off. Rotate it a couple of times and just swirl it, figure eights, whatever, just to make sure that there's no scratches, that the millable gum O-ring could leak. So we're going to clean this off with some solvent. Blow it dry, press there, gently, don't want to get anything in your eyes. Now we have our cylinder, grooves down washer, grooves face down, slips right over. Then in our seal kit, here's that clear O-ring I was talking about, the millable gum. We slip that down over, and it sits up against the grooves down washer. Now this is ready to go. Take our bolt out, because we're definitely done with it. Open the vise back up to accept the base. Again, don't let it sit all the way in there, bring it up a little bit. You want it level, so that when you set the cylinder in, it doesn't want to wobble. Nice and level here. Alright, now, we're going to have to relocate the camera over to the arbor press, where we'll show you how we install the wiper seal in the top cap and the pump shaft seal. Be right. Okay, well, we're over at the arbor press now. As you can see, our shop is pretty cluttered. It's not a big place, like I said before. It's always too small. So if anybody ever asks you how big of a shop you want Giant Stadium, you want the Astrodome. You need a lot of space. Always more than you have, never enough. Okay, so we're going to start out putting the pump shaft seal on. It's already got that green coating, silicone coating. You just set that on there, press down, start it on there a little bit. Okay, get it all lined up. Our arbor press has a groove here to accept, believe it or not, this portion of the pump, so we can set it right in there real nice. Get it centered. Bring it up. Again, we use the 11/16 socket on there. Fits nice. Bring it in under the press. Get it aligned. You want the press centered on the socket. You want the socket centered on the seal. You don't want to push it crooked. Spend the extra time here to get everything lined up nice. Alright, and then it just goes right in. I mean, piece of cake. That's it, it's done. Slide it back out. There you go. That's simple. 11/16 half-inch drive socket. Looks perfect. Okay? Next piece is our top cap. We're going to put the wiper on. The wiper seal that goes in here. Got our wiper seal. We get tons of these installed upside down. This way is upside down. This is the way it's installed on these units. Most people think of it as an oil seal, which is basically what it is. Where this way, you're trying to hold oil in. Well, that's not the job that this thing's doing. It's just a wiper. So it's put this way. So it wipes the debris off. Newer units use a brass insert wiper. This is what comes standard in the seal kit. This is what we install. I actually prefer this to the brass. Meyer used brass back in the 70s, and now they're using it again. Unless your shaft, your lift ram is pristine. If you have any pits on it, which a lot of my customers do, there's really no benefit to using the one with the brass. Okay, we have a 1 1/8" socket that we use as the driver for this. It fits in here nicely. Here you just got to be careful. You got to watch. You want to make sure you're pushing it in squarely, and rotate the assembly as necessary as you press to keep it going in squarely. So I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit better here so you can watch me make a fool of myself, because quite often these things don't cooperate. They seem to have a mind of their own. Okay, here we go. Again, you want your press centered on the socket. Start bringing it in. Watch. Make sure it's going in squarely, which this one is. Lucky for me. Just rotate it, work out to the other side there, work around the edge. Just make sure you're pushing it in straight, which it is. And that's it. There you have it. Oops. Okay, there you have it. Just like I say, it's in. Sometimes the metal, see, it's not fully seated. You try to get it in there, but it bottoms out. It doesn't really matter because it's just a wiper. And as long as this makes contact all the way around with the shaft as it goes into back down into the unit, mission accomplished. So this is ready to go. Now we're going to move back over to the vise where the sump base is. Okay, we got a little bit more preparation. Just need to get our studs ready, cleaned off. So we have 3 studs. Hold the top cap and tank on. 2 have the retainer clips for the plastic baffle. We're going to clean them off first here with solvent. Right. Gently blow them off with compressed air. Alright, now you can see the remnants of the nylite washers on here. You need to get all that off. And we do that with a scuff pad. I found that works best. It's a way to grip it and unthread it. It's not coming off for you. See if you can get a grip on it. Use a pick. Get it to loosen out of the thread. Once you get it to break that bond with the thread, you should be able to grab it again with the scuff pad and unscrew it. Which is what this one is doing. Or not. Yeah, sometimes you have to press pretty hard on it. I don't want to stab myself in the finger trying to show you. So I'll just do it down here on the wood. Get that freed. Yeah, it's coming off now. You see it working its way up towards the top. Alright. We want to clean these threads off anyway. So it's just part of the process. You can see what's left of the nylite washer on there, that little ring. And now we just clean the rust off the threads again. Unscrewing basically while squeezing very hard, pinching the threads. And then we just take the scuff pad and clean off the stud while we're at it. Bottom we can do the same thing. Unscrew while pinching to get any corrosion off that may be down there. Clean it off with a little bit of solvent. Blow it dry. And just for safekeeping, I'm going to put it up here in the base. Just a couple of turns to hold it, that way it stays clean. Okay. Move on to our next one. Again, we start with the pick. See if we can get that free. This one has a little bit more left. If there's more there, that's easier for you to grab. These. As you get with your needle nose, just stretch it, try to stretch it out a little bit. Don't try to pull it off, you'll just get a little chunk. Stretch it out a little bit and see if you can get it to move. Back to the pick. Sometimes you got to press pretty hard, like I say, to get this thing to go. Nylite does a very good job of sealing. Okay, you see I actually broke that right off. Okay, scuff pad, unscrew, get that thread clean. Clean the stud. Clean the bottom. Pinch it hard with the scuff pad and unscrew. Solvent. Fresh air. Screw it into the base for safekeeping. Turns. Move on to our last one here. Remnants of the nylite washer. Came right off. There it is. Scuff pad. Squeeze hard and unscrew. Do this a few times. Other end. Squeeze hard and unscrew. Clean the stud. Solvent. This is the last one. There's no retainer clip on here for the baffle. So now when we screw this one in, we can actually screw this one into the base all the way. We're not going to go crazy. Just screw it down, you'll feel it bottom out. That's it. Now we move on to our plastic baffle. Clean that off. Dry it off. Now I'm going to give away one of my secrets. Every unit that comes in here, every E47 that comes in here, when I'm doing the rebuild, I take the plastic baffle, I take my pick, and I write Smith Brothers, the month and the year, and on the back I put my phone number. That way, if it ever comes back, or if the next guy opens it up, he knows the last time it was rebuilt. So, sharing secrets. There you go. Got a little dirt on it. Maybe you can see it better if I get some dirt on there. I don't know if you can make it out, but I wrote Smith Brothers 7/2011. On the back it has our phone number, 973-209-PLOW. Clean that off again. Blow it dry. Remove our two studs. Actually, we'll just start with the first one here. We can catch it on that. Put it in a few turns. Loosen our second stud. Put the baffle in place. Thread in our second stud. Now these can be threaded down until the retaining washers are making contact with the baffle. Alright, that's done. Now we're going to put our large O-ring on the base. Put it over these three studs. Bring it down. Get it in the groove. We're not going to stretch it as much, as little as possible. We're not going to allow it to roll. Just want to get that down in the groove. Alright, it's in. Okay, it's ready to accept the tank. Cylinder base O-ring. Set that down in there. Use our pick to get it into position. Make sure it's seated all the way down in there, nice, all the way around. Take our oil, put a few drops of oil on that all the way around. We take our cylinder, set that in there. Make sure it's sitting right on that O-ring that we just seated in there. Alright, we just rock it around a little bit. It helps disperse the oil. And make sure it's seated in the center. Okay? Now that's ready to go. Okay, we have our tank. That's ready to go. Right here. Now we're going to take our clear silicone, seal it. Just going to smear a little all the way around the base here. Not going to go crazy, just a thin little bit. Just enough to make sure that this O-ring seals and we don't have any leaks in the tank. Okay. Nice thin bead on there. Spread out. Another reason it's good to wear these gloves. Just make sure you got that sealed up nice all the way around. Alright. And we're going to take our tank, insert it on there, set it on. Make sure that we have our decal lined up properly on the front, otherwise it looks ridiculous. The center of the Y should be centered with the drain plug. We press down. There you go. It's on. Now you take a paper towel, wipe off any excess silicone that may have got squeezed out, because you don't want it to look messy. Now that can cure while we're working on the rest of the unit, getting it assembled. Alright. Next we're going to put on our pump. I think this camera position is alright. We're going to need our scraper, putty knife, thin chisel, whatever you want to call it. This is going to be used to hold the pump check valve in place while I slide the pump on. Remember, the pump check valve was the seat, the ball, and the spring, and we have to use the easy out to remove it. Okay? Set our pump on here. Make sure it slides on easy, on and off. Nice. No resistance. Remember, we have to pry this thing off. So we'll just let that sit there. Get ready for this. Okay. Our ball and our spring, I'm just going to clean them off with solvent. No compressed air on them, they're too lightweight, they'll blow away. I guess in the interest of what's going on here, I should remove the pump so you can see. We're going to put our spring into the casting here, into the base casting. Get that ready. Okay. In our seal kit bag, there's one flat cut O-ring. It's the only one in the bag. All the rest of them are round. Okay, here's our flat cut O-ring. That goes in here. On the suction side of the pump, there's a groove. The O-ring sits in there real nice. Ready to go. Alright. Just need our seat. here's the seat for the pump check valve. We're just going to clean that with a scuff pad a little bit, just by twisting it like this. That looks good. All right. Clean that off again with a little bit of solvent. Okay. We're going to need our putty knife to hold this in place, so we just put a little oil on there on both sides. Spread it around just a little. Make sure it's nice and oily. And then what's excess, we just put on here. Get a little on that flat cut O-ring, and a little here, where the pump check valve seat's going to go in with the ball and spring. All right, we have that ready. In our seal kit bag, we have 3 nylock nuts, and we have 3 additional ones for the top cap. But we're going to get our 3 lock nuts ready to assemble the pump onto the base. Okay, we have that. Found our 1/2 inch deep socket. So that's ready to go. I have my torque wrench here on hand, ready to torque the nuts to the proper spec, 125 inch-pounds. Okay. Now we're ready to put our O-ring on the seat. I gotta get that out of the bag here. Let's see if this is it. Yes, it is. Okay. You can see this O-ring fits on this side. You can see the back side is where the ball seats against. So what we do to assemble this now is we have our spring in the hole. We got our pump here. There's a little bit of oil around here. Just spread it around. We have our pump here ready to go. Put that on. This gets a little tricky here. Okay. We have our, with my finger, I'm holding the O-ring here on this side. Now I put the ball on the back side. So I have to hold that. I have to shove this in that hole. I'll take the pump off to show you, just a little easier. But I'm just going to try to get this in here. See? Press it against the spring. See that spring tension? I don't know if you can see it. The spring's trying to push it out. Okay? Now I put the pump on. Just right here on the very end, so it's ready. Now I take the putty knife and hold that pump check valve in with the putty knife. Slide the pump on, slip out the putty knife, and that's it, it's in position. Now I can put the nuts on. What I tend to do is get one on here and tighten it almost all the way down. That'll hold the pump and I can let go. So. These bottom out very quickly when they're tight. Okay, that one's snug. The other 2 on. Bottomed out. Next one. Alright, that's bottomed out. A little snug there, a little snug there. Okay. Torque wrench already set. 125 inch-pounds. That was easy. I actually overdid it. Pretty close because I really didn't make these tight. Okay, so we're good to go. pump's ready. What I'm going to do now is take that grinder I was talking about earlier, just lightly go over the surface here, clean that corrosion off, because now the pump is sealed against here, the shaft seal's in place, and we're not going to put that dust inside the unit. So. Just very lightly. I didn't put any pressure at all. I didn't even let the full weight of the grinder sit on there. Just very light to take off that corrosion. Compressed air. Okay. Now that's ready to go. Filters. Those cleaned off. Right. Hold them very tightly because they will fly. Gently blow them off with the compressed air. Make sure there's nothing left on them, no debris. Insert them back into their cavities. Here's our 2 filter plugs. Just going to clean them off, blow them dry. Okay. Now these O-rings, as long as they're not torn, we don't replace them. The ones on here, on these drain plugs, and I'll tell you why. The ones that come in all the seal kits that are on the market are not the proper O-rings. We buy these plugs direct from the manufacturer, and the O-rings that are on them, they're not a round O-ring, they're actually tapered. And I actually inquired with the manufacturer as to buying just the O-rings, and they told me that no, you have to buy the plugs. So I'm not real happy with the fit of the aftermarket O-rings, so we reuse them as long as they're still good. A couple of drops of oil on each one here. Snug with your fingers, back it out. Snug with your fingers, back it out. That's enough to disperse the oil. Same thing here, snug with your finger, back it out. Snug with your finger, back it out. It spreads the oil out. Good to go there. Grab our 11/16. 6 to 7 foot-pounds, 75 to 85 inch-pounds is not very tight. So once these bottom out, that's it. Just give them a little snug, leave it at that. I suppose I could reset my torque wrench, but it's easier just to judge. They don't need to be tight. Nothing crazy. Alright, we got our drain plug. Clean all the gunk out of that. Blow that off. Okay. These threads look pretty dry in here. There almost may be some corrosion on the cast. I'm going to put a little on the threads just to get it started here. Alright, a couple of drops of oil on there. Finger tight, back it out, finger tight, back it out. Nothing crazy. Okay, we're good to go there. While we have it here like this, we just clean off oil, the excess. We don't want it to appear like they're leaking after we're done with this rebuild. Get that cleaned off. Gently blow it dry, making sure it don't blow anywhere near our drain pan here because it'll make a heck of a mess. Blow that dry. Okay. Good to go there. We're going to turn the pump and device so that's facing out so we can work on our PA block now. Let's see what we're doing with that. All right. First thing we're going to do here, put our 3 O-rings in, 3 tiny O-rings, our seal kit. Okay. Third one. Okay, those 3 are in. Take our pick. We got our giant jar of never seize anti-seize compound. We'll take a little glob here, put it in these threads, spread it around using the pick. Over here, spread it around. This way the next guy doesn't have that problem we had removing those bolts. Alright, so that's ready to accept the block. Go get us some new bolts. Alright, we've got our new bolts. I don't know if you remember, but I mentioned that there's corrosion in these holes, the 4 holes. We're just going to ream them real quick with a 5/16 drill bit. Get the corrosion out. Alright, blow it out. One last time blowing out the PA block. Take another look inside this bore here for the pilot check piston. If it's sticking. See if I can see a reason why. Nothing's apparent. Take a look at the piston itself again. It's got some rust on it. See if we can clean a little. You can see the rust on the bottom surface of this. I'm going to try to clean some of that off before I go and assemble this PA block onto this unit. I don't want to have a problem, so I want to make sure that the check piston moves freely in its bore and I can remove it. It's not sticking. If it is, now's the time to replace it. And if it's not the pilot check piston and it's the bore, well then we need to switch PA blocks. I'm not going to put this one on. So I'm just cleaning this up with a scuff pad, not going crazy. Just don't want any burrs on here, any rough patches. Bottom a little bit more. A little solvent. Test fit it again. Got my 4 new bolts here to put the block on them with. Still fits a little tight. See if it's easier to push out of the board now. Yeah, that moves freely now. Now it's not getting stuck at the bottom. Yep. All right. Let's see if our magnet works now. Should. Yep, see? Should come right out with the magnet. Okay. All right. So that's ready. Okay, now use our T handle, 1/4 inch Allen key. What this does is it allows us to put the bolt on there to hold it. We get messy. Never cease. Slather that up real good. There, see? Put it in the hole. So it's sticking out. Turn it a little bit. Sticking out the other side. A little extra on the end there. Go to our next one. Put that on there. Slather it up. Real nice. Make sure we fully coat it. Down by the head. It's very important you get it there since that's the part that seems to seize in the cavity. Alright, slide the next one in. Comes through, smooth it again. Next one. Good coating on there. Make sure you get it down by the head. Nice even coat. Put it in the hole. Comes through the back side. Smear it around a little bit. Next one. Here's a good coating. Make sure you get it down on the head. Okay, fully coated. Slide that in the hole. Okay. You see now we've got our 4 bolts protruding through. One nice thing about wearing these gloves, boy, that never sees. All you gotta do is look at it and you get it on you. At least with the gloves, it's not going to be everywhere. A little bit of oil on your finger. Wet that area right there where the 3 holes are. The 3 ports are. That are going to match these 3. A little more on here. Just dab, dab, dab. some oil on those. Okay. Now we're going to use our T-handle to put this on. So, put this on here. See if we can reposition the camera so make sure that you can see. Alright. This up here. Hold it in position. We're not letting it touch the base yet. It's not touch. This back portion of the PA block is not touching the base until we get these 4 bolts started. Once we got them started, then we'll push it on all the way. I got 2 bolts started. 3. Get the 4th one to go. There we go. Now we just squarely push straight in. Now just tighten these down with the T-handle. Start here. Just snug. Crisscross down to the bottom on the opposite side. Snug. Bottom on the other side. Snug. Go to the top on this side. Okay, now this one I'm going to tighten. Back down to the bottom on the other side. Opposite again. Top corner here. We're done. Suppose we could torque these. My experience, as tight as I can get them with the T-handle is perfect. Just wipe off the never sees here around these holes. You know where it's going to end up. It's going to end up everywhere. Okay? For whatever reason, Meyer says to insert the pilot check valve prior to the piston. I don't know exactly why. I'm not really sure why it makes a difference. Our piston is loose, just sitting there on the bore. So we may as well install the pilot check valve now. This time. Just clean that off. Right. Gently blow it off. Now this is just a ball, a spring, and a plug. I've had a couple of units where the spring was damaged and the unit wouldn't hold angle. And replacing the spring was the answer. So we've been looking real close at these springs since that time. Ball looks good. Maybe just give it a little pinch with the scuff pad just to make sure there's no corrosion on it. Looks good though. Shot solvent. Blow it off. Alright, now this here, you can do it however you want, but I stack it and balance it. And just bring it right up in. I find that works easiest for me. Okay. Have our hex socket here. And again, this is another one like the drain plugs. The O-ring makes the seal. You don't need to go berserk. Tighten this down. Snug. That's it. Alright. Just to prove a point, pilot check piston still comes right out. I'm not really sure why Meyer recommended it be done the other way, or that be inserted first. Clean off our cap here. I'm going to just touch the flats on this a little bit with the file. There's some shoe marks. The wrench was getting stuck a little bit when removing it, and I don't want that to happen again, so just going to file here. Take off any burrs. Remember, this is an aluminum nut. Clean it off again. The aluminum shade was inside the unit. Alright. Blow it dry. Now, probably should have done it on the bottom as well, but just put a couple of drops of oil up here on the top where this O-ring is going to sit. And just finger tight. Alright, back it out once, finger tight. Alright, 13/16 wrench. Snug. That's it, you don't have to go crazy. Now we move on to our B check valve. Ball and spring. Clean them off. Hold them firmly, gently blow them dry. Alright. Spring goes in the cavity first. Ball just drops in on top. And we'll be ready to put our B valve in. I threw them bin. Oh, actually, I got it right here. Let's see. Here they are. We have the B and the C.